Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that I'm about to walk you through is some of the most overt propaganda coming from CBS for gun control that I've seen in a hot minute. Now, keep a theme here, and we're going to walk through this entire thing. But when the micro focus on an event doesn't play out like we just saw in Kansas, you see them zoom out and lose details, but still keep the message very clear. Gun control is what they want, and I'm going to show you everything right now. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And my brothers and sisters, I know you guys like spring as much as I do, and for those outdoorsy versions of us, it's coming, guys. You've got waterfowl, you've got fish, you've got birds, you've got hunting, you've got everything that you can imagine coming up for the spring season, and Sportsman Guide is a great option to get you all the gear that you will need. We're talking about Vortex, Scentlock, Irish Setter, Nomad, all the heavy hitters. The bottom line is they've got everything from the outdoor lifestyle, from camping, which is coming up, boating, hunting, fishing, hiking, anything you can imagine. The bottom line is Sportsman Guide is the go-to place. So check them out. Thank you so much to Sportsman Guide for making this content possible. And now, my brothers and sisters, let's get it, because if it happens outdoors, it's happening at Sportsman's Guide. All right, my brothers, and the occasional sister, I'm going to be honest with you. We're about to dive into the propaganda pieces, because now the micro focus on the Kansas City shooting didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. So now we're going to do something. Let me walk you through this, and we're just going to pick this apart. And there's 4 clips upcoming. Check this out, all from CBS today.
Deaths of 2 police officers and a paramedic in suburban Minneapolis add to a grim toll. So far in 2024, there have been more mass shootings in this country than we've had days of the year. Our Mark Strassman explores the impact.
Gunshots, panic on parade in Kansas City. A Super Bowl celebration hijacked. Another American moment shattered.
All right. So now this is the setup. This is really important. Set it up with an anchor in a studio saying how devastatingly horrible everything is. More shootings than there are days of the year. That's a talking point they've been saying, but they're not telling you what those shootings are. Then you go forward to Kansas City and you show you hear the gunshots. You see the crowds shattering. But again, you don't say what happened. You don't say all the instances and how the fact that these were obviously criminals with juvenile record, or they were juveniles who had criminals shooting each other. It's not difficult, but they're not going to tell you those things. They're just going to focus on the broad spectrum because it's about instilling fear. They are going away from the facts of what happened, and they are zooming back out to fear. This entire thing is driving fear in order to forward gun control. Check this out. These are just going to happen over and over again. I got 4 of them. This is important because they are shifting.
With today's gun violence, there is no sacred space. Inside this Houston megachurch last Sunday, a woman stormed in firing an AR-15. She was shot and killed by off-duty police officers after a running gun battle.
It's scary. It's scary.
On average, more than 325 Americans are shot every day. Last year saw 656 mass shootings, defined as 4 or more victims.
I've traveled the world and felt a lot safer there than I did in my own city.
Okay, we're going to tear this part apart. All about safety, all about overarching safety, all about do you feel this way? Now, notice that the stats that they just showed you in those grim statistics were from the Brady campaign, which is a biased source because it's all about gun control. If you don't believe me, look up the Brady.org and look at Chris Brady, the person who runs it, and their Twitter feed. And you will find out very quickly they are a gun control organization. They are not a middle ground moderated source. This would be akin to them quoting the NRA for similar pieces. They would never do it because that'd be biased, but Brady is perfectly non-biased. Then the other number that they used, the mass shootings per day in a year, was Gun Violence Archive. Both of these are gun control sources that are fueling a propaganda piece to build fear around the idea of guns without providing any details. The Gun Violence Archive also states that drive-by shootings are mass shootings. So there's a lot of things they're not telling you. And then the very beginning of that clip, you're talking about a shooting in a church where armed off-duty police officers negated the threat of someone who walked in order to kill people and then brought a 5 or 7-year-old with them. But they don't tell you any of the details. This is the important piece. They're completely obfuscating the details, and they're just going to broad-based fear. Kansas City, all these terrible things. A parade shattered. The American event Gone. They didn't tell you who was doing it. They didn't tell you what guns were used. They didn't tell you the circumstances. No. Just that guns are the thing. Keep in mind, this is about instilling fear and building a propaganda machine. This is not about details that would be necessary to determine what happened or change course with letting criminals out consistently. Anyway, that's just the second one. Now, we're going to go to the third one, and this one is from a psychiatrist. This I find really fascinating. Check it.
People are experiencing vicarious trauma.
Dr. Arthur Evans, CEO of the American Psychological Association.
How significant is this stress?
We have about a third of people in the country who are saying that their behavior has changed because of mass shootings.
Right after mass shootings, Evans says 75% of Americans report significant stress, and that parents of young children especially have concerns about their kids' safety.
When you're talking about churches and synagogues and shopping malls, we have less of an ability to distance, and I think that has a different kind of impact.
So these are the same people that are propagating the points of Democrats, who Democrats are literally putting forward bills right now saying it is illegal to carry guns in places of worship, even if it's for your own defense, even if the pastor or the priest or whoever is in charge of it says, please do to protect us. That's going to be against the law. That's who we're dealing with right here. Now, one thing that I want to hit on here, and I find this very interesting, and I want to hear you guys on this one. Vicarious trauma. Okay, well, what that means is that if someone sees a shooting on the news, then you felt like you were there. I was there. I felt that, so I did it. So I'm feeling stress. That's what they're going with. So you don't have to, you no longer have to be actually at an event and something go dramatically wrong from an existing juvenile criminal. No, you can just be watching on TV and you all experienced it personally. Now, one thing that is incredibly important about this clip that I do want to hit, to be completely honest, I have children. This is a concern for me. That's why I fight to preserve their rights and also protect them. Not take away their rights and put them in a bubble because now they're going to be protected. They have no rights, but they'll be protected. That's something that's exceedingly valid. But the idea that Democrats and Democratic policies and liberal controlled bastion cities and states consistently lower the standards for criminals, for criminality, allow it to persist, and then don't put people in jail, or they allow people out of jail early, of course you're going to have more violence. You aren't taking criminals off the streets. But they aren't talking about that. It's not about the details that make the decisions and the outcomes. It's about the overarching broad fear injection. That's what we're looking at. And I've got one more clip for you because this is the part that boggles my mind, all right?
On the polarizing issue of guns, a majority, 56%, favor more restrictions, according to Gallup.
I'm a gun owner. It should be, harder for certain individuals to obtain a gun.
Owning guns makes millions of Americans feel more in control. But with gun violence, anxiety climbs because people feel they've lost control.
Why haven't I got shot? I don't know.
Guns in crowds have become a new American anxiety. Kansas City, a reminder of Denver's NBA championship parade last year when 2 people were shot.
People just can't go buy a gun or an assault rifle and go kill people. I mean, how many more people have to die before we change that?
So here's an important piece of detail that, again, they're not telling you. This whole video is all about them zooming high level to make it fear injection. Denver, which is what they just referenced, and Kansas City were both juveniles, gang violence with handguns shooting at each other. But they didn't tell you that, did they? No, it's not about telling you the truth. It's about telling you what they need to tell you to get the outcome in the injection of fear. Do you notice all the B-roll that they just showed you? They didn't show you one single handgun. The same thing which caused all of the sources and all the anxiety of which they're referencing in these shootings. They didn't show you a single handgun. They only showed you AR-15s. Showed you one being shot. Showed you an entire wall of ARs and paintball guns, oddly enough. And then the one handgun that they showed was so zoomed in you only saw the muzzle, but you couldn't tell what kind of gun it was. Do you see what they're doing? They've lost the narrative on the micro. They've got to go to the macro now, which is where we come in. We will continue to provide the stats, continue to provide the rebuttals, and we will continue to pass freedom on to the next generation. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.